Hi, this is Rachel. I'm going to discuss about my analysis to this given scenario based on the tort of law negligence. Firstly, the principle of negligence is defined as carelessness amounting to the culpable breach of duty, failure to do or recognize something that a reasonable person would do or recognize, or doing something that a reasonable person would not do, which is under the Civil Law Act 1956. Today's given scenario is discussed about Sarah, who regularly visits Freshmart. One day afternoon on busy Saturday, she slipped on the spill of liquid that had been on the floor for a couple of minutes. Sarah slipped just after navigating through the crowded aisles. That liquid spill had been proved by other witnesses to customer that several staff were aware of it but failed to either clean it up or place warning signs to alert customers. Thus, after the accident, Sarah not only suffered with the injuries, but also the consequential economic loss due to her medical bills of her injury. So we are here to discuss that Sarah is suing Freshmart successfully or not. For Sarah, she must prove that the duty of care, breach of duty of Freshmart, causation, and the remoteness of the damages to establish her suit to Freshmart for negligence. Step 1. Duty of care. It's defined with how a person should act toward others while being in public by being watchful, attentive, cautious, and prudent in a way that is expected of a reasonable person in the given circumstances. We can see the real context from the case Donahue vs. Stevenson. We must look at whether there's neighbor relationship between both parties, which explain comprehensive enough that a person who is directly or indirectly been affected by your actions. Here, Freshmart did owe Sarah the exact duty of care since their staff have the responsibility to make sure their store and public area is safe for every customer. Next, breach of duty, which explained that the defendant had done something that a reasonable man would not have done or had failed to do something that a reasonable man would have done. Based on this scenario, there was few witnesses confirmed with the ignorance of the store employees to that liquid spill. They failed to do what a reasonable man would do, such as cleaning up or put an alert sign. A standard shop of employees should have trained properly before going hired to do their responsibilities to the fullest. Besides discussing professional, they should have done something on that spill after noticing. To talk about grocery store standards, which are important for maintaining a safe and customer-friendly environment, they must focus on the cleanliness and maintenance of store and proper customer service. They must regularly clean and sanitize all surfaces, including floors, and provide helpful services to the customers. Moreover, causation. The but-for test can be applied here. First is harm. The plaintiff was injured, then is the defendant action. They aware the spill on the floor for that period but ignore it. So the test will be asking that would Sarah have been injured but for the employees of Freshmart take any reasonably supposed action to that spill? The answer is no. Therefore, the causation of the negligence in this case has formed. We can refer from the case of Barnett vs. Chelsea and Kensington Hospital Management Committee about the test. Finally, to complete the negligence, Sarah needs to prove the remoteness of the damages. From the case Wageman, we knew that the damage claimed by the plaintiff should not be too remote and must be reasonably foreseeable. The defendant is only responsible for the damage which is reasonably foreseen. That spill of liquid has proved that on the floor for extended periods. It can be a few minutes or even hours. Additionally, sprained ankle, bruising, and the flowing medical bills for the treatment is counted as reasonably foreseeable if the compensation that required by Sarah is not too over. Until now, since all steps have been proved, then the negligence from Sarah against Freshmart has successfully established and enforceable. However, Freshmart might well argue with some defenses it may be contributory negligence, which explains if a person was injured in part due to her own negligence, the injured party would not be entitled to collect any damages from another party who had supposedly caused the accident. See Section 12 of Civil Law Act 1956. Freshmart will probably argue that Sarah might have seen that spill on the floors and be able to avoid slipping since the other customer would have also noticed. Besides, voluntary assumption of risks, which talked about people are not allowed to recover damages for something that they have already agreed to do. The plaintiff should know that the possibility of being harmed by the defendant and willingly accepted the risks. Here with the case, before Sarah enters the store, she could have seen the crowd, which might not be safe for her, but she was still willingly to get in there. However, do the defenses of Freshmart really succeed? On the former defense, since there was a paid crowd, Sarah was just successfully navigated through the crowd, and it was reasonable to argue that she could not notice any spirit on the floor. For the later argument, it's also not a successful defense due to Sarah was being harmed by the ignorance of Spill, but not the crowd, and the staff were also supposed to ensure the safety, clean, and enough orderly of the store. After this case, Freshmart should have their own internal meeting to discuss their policy considerations, namely safety, cleanliness, and also maintenance and customer service. Besides that, redevelop their employees' training session via the ways such as conduct frequent retail audits and implement digital SOP among the workforces. In a nutshell, I will conclude that Sarah can sue Freshmart for negligence due to the completeness of all steps to be proved of the law, and Sarah can have the reasonable compensation to recover her losses and also on the medical bills. That's all for my analysis for this given scenario, and thank you so much.